So you're setting up your stream and think to yourself, maybe it's time to up my camera game. This is a highly rated webcam that costs just $16. And this is a $2,500 cinema grade camera setup. But here's the real question. Does your audience actually care? Hi everyone, if you're new to my channel, my name is Paula, and today we're going to be taking a look at 4 different cameras at 4 wildly different price points to see if there's actually a sweet spot for streaming webcams. Let's start with a rubric. Since many of us will have different uses for these webcams, whether it's for streaming or for work, this should answer questions for anyone who is a beginner user or for more professional creator types. We're going to be testing out these camera qualities for both daytime and nighttime, what features and software they offer, how much can you adjust the image quality, was it easy to set up, and of course, the pros and cons of each choice. So first up, we have the $16 camera from Amazon. This was like I said in the beginning, 5-star highly rated camera that I was curious because I was like, this is the most budget one that I've seen that's pretty decently rated. Not sure if any of those reviews are true, but of course this is what we get. I have a little key light here just to simulate like an open window, but as you guys can see, I have a really big window behind me, so most of the light is coming from behind me. But this is what kind of a standard daytime footage looks like, and I'll show you what nighttime looks like over here. This one is a plug and play, so very simple. Most beginners can easily use this right out of the box and really have no problem. I don't believe this one has a mic. I'm not sure, I will double check that. But as far as adjustments, you can have a bit of power in adjusting it. I'm using it right now in OBS, and so within OBS you can configure the camera settings and you can adjust the brightness if needed, which I did do a little bit of tweaking. This is at 1080p, so this is the highest resolution it has, so not too bad if you have ample sources of lighting. But here, like I said, you can see the difference at nighttime for sure. Going up in our budget, this is the Razer Kiyo Pro, and this is, I believe, at $100. I believe I even got this for sale at around $65 at the time, so if you keep an eye out, you can get this for even cheaper. But this one is at 1080p 60, so good for motion. So this is a typical daytime shot on the Razer Kiyo Pro. Here's what the nighttime shot looks like. As you can see, there is a pretty decent jump from the $16 camera as far as camera quality. Very similar to the previous camera, where it's just a standard webcam that you prop on top of your computer or your monitor, I mean, and just adjust the angle as needed. As far as adjustments for image, again, I'm using OBS, and so I was able to tweak it a little bit there. Razer Kiyo Pro does have its own software, the Razer Synapse, which you can also do native adjustments there if you would like, which I actually find that more useful because there's more control as far as white balance, adjustments to color, so you can get really more detailed there. So that's an upgrade for what comes with the Razer Kiyo Pro. I know this one does have a mic, so that is an option that you have. If you decide not to have a separate one for your stream, then you can use the one on the Kiyo Pro. And at number 3, we have the brand new Insta360 Link 2 Pro, which if you guys have seen my recent video, we just did a full review on this camera, and I am not going to beat around the bush. I am a huge fan of this camera. This camera is at a $250 price point. This does shoot up to 4K 30, so you should see a lot more clarity with this one. And the biggest difference too with the Link 2 Pro is that it has the AI tracking software, and it sits on a gimbal as opposed to the other previous cameras that we talked about, which is just on a mount. The Insta360 Link 2 Pro also has its own software, of course, and this is by far going to be the more robust software out of the ones that we've talked about today, since it has options to do the tracking features as well as virtual backgrounds and even special effects if you wanted to have those during your stream or any other uses that you might use this webcam for. Also, this has dual native ISO, so it is going to do really well in low light, and it just does it automatically. So this is what a typical daytime footage looks like on the Insta360 Link 2 Pro, and this is what the nighttime footage is going to look like. This one is still fairly easy to set up, other than, again, you have that software that you want to download. I'm pretty sure it is required for you to have this in order to actually activate everything on the camera, but this body wise sits on a gimbal and a magnetic mount, so you still have the ease of adjusting it on top of your monitor. It's also nice because it moves along with you too, so if If you ever worry about being off center in stream and not realizing it, then this is going to solve that problem because it's going to move along with you. So that's always pretty cool. 250 base for the Link 2 Pro. Lastly, we have the Canon R6 Mark II, which is going to be the maximalist setup on this list. This is going to be at the $2,500 range with the lens and the body itself. Right now, I'm using the f4 14-35mm and the R6 Mark II body. But the other thing that I want to caution you, if you're looking for this in a budget perspective, your investment is not going to stop at just the camera. Right now, the way I have this mounted is it's on a pole and it has a dummy battery as well as a micro HDMI adapter and the HDMI cable that is then connected to my PC. So as far as setup, this is going to be a little bit more complex and advanced for you beginner users. However, the payoff is obviously really great. I mean, the image quality is unbeatable. The first time I tried this at nighttime just to test it out, I felt like I looked like a streamer that had like hundreds of viewers, when in reality I am like a 5 viewer a day if I'm lucky, you know, when I game, which is fine because I just usually stream on the side when I am gaming at night. So with that said, if I really wanted to go for a more professional look, this is definitely the choice to go for. However, like I said, I will still caution, there is a bit of a learning curve with the setup of it. Obviously, we were able to figure this out and it wasn't too bad. So if you are curious to know what it all took to get this set up, what's the easiest way to do it, and to maybe find out what items we used to make this setup, let me know in the comments down below. If I get enough interest for people who want to know about this, then I will make a separate video for you guys. Features and software. This is a camera, so it's not necessarily have software integrated into your PC, but of course it has camera features that you can adjust. So as you can see, the sunlight is changing behind me. This is probably going to be overexposed, so I would have to do some manual adjusting if needed. One advantage obviously is that it is a camera, so you have interchangeable lenses, replace filters, anything that you would want to do with a full frame camera, you can do with this one, obviously. And this is actually the camera that I use to film my YouTube videos. I propped this up right now just to show you guys the maximized option in this list. But yeah, so this is what the Canon R6 Mark II can offer. I also wanted to give you guys an honorable mention because I feel like this Canon R6 Mark II to the Insta360 Link 2 Pro is such a huge jump that I want to mention something in the middle. So this is my Canon V1. This is my point and shoot that's also by Canon, and the setup is going to be very similar to the R6 Mark II. However, this is going to be at a slightly friendlier price point. I would say this is going to cost you about, actually let's look that up right now. So the Canon V1 is going for $899 and you don't need a separate lens or anything. It's just all in one. The con of this is that this does run as the LPE17 battery. You're basically at the mercy of that battery life, which is around 2 hours continuous. So you either have to have extra batteries in hand and cut your stream to replace the batteries when it runs out, or just be contained with that 2 hour capacity. And then of course there's other point and shoots that you can consider too. A lot of people like to use the older Sonys, the Sony A6 series. Those can be a better price point. I've seen those be like maybe $300 in the past. I'm not sure about now. I would only consider that for the sole purpose of if you want a camera quality versus just a standalone webcam. So both great options to consider in between those price points, but you might have to do a little bit more digging and you have to invest in more accessories to make that work, since you're basically converting a camera for webcam purposes. So those are going to be your choices for your most budget to the top tier cinematic setup. Obviously, for the cinematic setup, it'll be overkill for some of you, and some of you may want to look for that sweet spot in the middle where it's maybe the more fancy software that you want to go with and that camera quality increase to 4K. Or if you're still happy with a 1080p footage, if you're just gaming, a lot of us will just be in a little box in a corner during our gameplay anyway, so you might not need to have the most sharpest like Netflix documentary type of camera. Regardless, I hope this list was helpful for you to narrow down what a good choice for you would be. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think you would choose out of this list, or if there is a camera that you feel is notable enough that should have been included for others to consider. So I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts down below. If you guys liked this video or found the info helpful, please give us a thumbs up down below and subscribe for more tech and gear related videos. Lastly, let me know what you guys think about this sort of like more conversational style. I'd love to do more compilations if there are items that we have a few to compare. I think I'm going to do a little bit more of that here in the future, just so that it kind of gives you guys a more broad view of what options are out there instead of just a standalone review of something. I welcome any feedback and I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. So as always, thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.